Welcome to another edition of the Insider Mailbag. I'm Jared Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, how you doing?
Doing fine, Jared. How you doing?
Good. It's Texas week, so there's a lot of juice, no matter what's going on. And they're both, hey, right now, I know they're both coming off consecutive losses, but they both have winning records. So perhaps more juice in this game than there has been in recent years. And of course, it's the 10-year anniversary of the game, the Crabtree catch from Harrell. So I know a lot of people will get fatigued at talking about that, but it is the 10-year anniversary, so it's worth at least mentioning. But we do have a lot of good questions from y'all. We're going to dive into them right now. First one comes from Mr. Mustafa Mond, who wants to know, is this program in better shape, the football program, than it was on December 12th, 2012, basically since before Kingsbury got here?
If you'd asked that question this time last year, I probably would have said no.
Yeah.
But now I think it is. I think it's not tremendously better, but I think, you're definitely seeing major improvement on special teams. I think defense is incrementally improving. It's still got a ways to go, but it is making some progress. Offensively, you've held serve, and you're showing signs, particularly when Bowman was really doing his thing, that you're seeing some improvement there. So I would say, and then also probably depth all around.
No doubt. That was what I was going to say.
Right.
Depth. It's night and day, really, between what Kingsbury inherited and what he's developed now.
Right. And especially on defense, I think.
Yes.
And that's going to play out with some of these injuries that we've had. So you got a better roster all the way around. Yeah, I think you got a really good, solid coaching staff right now. I think some of these additions from this last year have been really good. So, yeah, I mean, is it going to be good enough improvement? Well, these last three games will tell us that. But, yeah, I think it's better.
I do, too. And, what was really telling for me was we had Jason Morrow on a Rockin' pregame show a couple years after he left. And he said one of the reasons why he did choose to leave was because he knew they were going to have nothing on defense. Because if you remember, they started off with that 7-0 start. And, look, I know some of it was competition. But also some of those guys like Dartwan Bush, some of those key guys went down, those starters, those veterans, and they had really no depth behind them. And then that's basically what you had in 2014, So, yeah, look, it's not monumentally improved, but this program is in better shape than it was when Kingsbury inherited. Just the fact that the defense is the shape it's in, the fact that he kind of settled the defense, and he perpetuated the whole different defensive coordinator every season for a while, but getting Gibbs in here and settling that defense on its own is worth saying it's in a better shape than it was in 2012. That's probably not what Mr. Mustafa Mon wanted to hear, actually.
may not be.
But it's how we honestly feel. All right, speaking of the final three games, Raider Fan 01 he says, prediction time. He wants to know, how many does Tech win of the next three games? What do you think?
Before these injuries set in, I would have said 3-0. I've switched that to 2-1 now. But here's the deal. I really don't know where that one loss is going to come. I haven't decided, where I stand on the Texas game. Obviously, that's the one that most people think Tech will probably get to lose. It is certainly the best team Tech is facing on the remaining schedule. But, Tech has played Texas very well recently. And this is a special game for Tech. It's kind of a pick 'em game. In terms of Vegas.
They have a lot of injuries, too. I just want to jump in there. Texas has a lot of injuries. I was just talking with Chip Brown over at our, sister site, 247 site, 24/7 site, and he was just breaking down all the injuries. And it's longer than Tech's, honestly.
Right. So, Tech could jump up and win that game, but if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose one of these last two. And I'll tell you,
I hate to say it, typical Tech.
Yeah, exactly. And, people will scoff to use one of your favorite words, but Baylor's improving. They're not real good by any means, but they're getting better on defense. And if they stay healthy and they continue this trajectory of improving, by the time that game rolls around, it could be a little bit tougher than people expect. So, but I am going 2-1.
I'm going to go 2-1 as well, but I think they lose to Texas. I guess I'll be obvious guy. I just feel like right now, I feel like Texas has enough key players still playing that aren't hurt that will be able to make the plays at the end of the game to win. And honestly, Tech's big problem right now is they've been right there these last 2 weeks and haven't been able to get the job done, whether they've had Bowman or they didn't. So until they prove that they could win a close game against a quality opponent, it's hard for me to pick them. And I do think Texas is not great. I don't think they're back, but they're good. They're a good team. And I think Kansas State is decidedly not a good team. And I hear what you're saying about Baylor. They won. I watched that whole game last week. But Tech is a better team than them. They should. I'm not saying they're going to, but they should win that game. So I'm picking 2 wins for the Red Raiders. Tech Freak wants to know if Bowman's eligible for a medical redshirt. I really don't think so. I think he's played way too much to get a medical redshirt. I mean, how many games has he played now?
A bunch.
Yeah, a bunch. I mean, I just honestly, I don't think that's feasible. I mean, you never know with the NCAA. I hate to say talking definites about anything about the NCAA, but then again, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Also, who got the most playing time with the new redshirt rules is another question Tech Freak wants to ask. Well, you know what? There are some freshmen, and I think that's who people are going to focus on the most. And I understand that, and rightfully so with the freshmen. But I'm going to go with Quentin Yance. I think he maybe utilized these new rules better than anybody. He's a guy who transferred over from California Junior College. And ironically, he went to junior college not because of grades, but just because that's how it worked out for him football-wise. But then, for those of you familiar with how difficult it could be to transfer from California junior colleges, I mean, they really kind of did a job on him as far as almost none of his, or not almost none, but over 30 of his credit hours did not transfer to Texas Tech just because of the way things work out there. So that's really tough for him, and so he knew he was going to be on campus next year to graduate. So instead of playing a full season this year and perhaps not getting as much playing time as he thinks he might next year, he's played 4 games this year, going to get to play a full season next year and graduate and possibly get more playing time next year. So it was just win-win-win across the board for him. So I thought he did a really good job of working the system there. I know the coaches probably would have liked to use him some this year, but the defensive line still performed well without him, and I think he's going to be a key player for them next year.
Sure. And I don't know exactly what his situation is here, but Braden Stringer is a guy to keep in mind. I mean, I don't recall him playing earlier in the season. I mean, he may have got in at some point, but he played quite a bit against Oklahoma.
And played well.
He flashed a little bit. I mean, and with the injury at linebacker with Dakota Allen being down, we don't know how long, maybe the rest of the season. Stringer may be a factor on down the stretch here as well, and he may wind up playing the full 4 games as well. So that's another name to think about anyway.
That's a great one. MFS 0457. I'd like to hear the story behind that handle. Wants to know, what improvements have we seen in Duffy's understanding of Kingsbury's offense? Have you seen, I'm not putting him down, but have you seen any? I don't know if I've necessarily seen any. Duffy's just so feast or famine, where he looks like, really bad, or he's making some huge dynamic play either with his arm or his feet. So he doesn't, I haven't personally seen him necessarily get a greater command of the offense. In his defense, he hasn't gotten to play a whole lot other than the TCU game. It's been spot play for him. So I don't know. What do you think, Joe?
Yeah. I mean, I think I agree with that. I mean, I guess one encouraging thing is that he didn't turn the ball over against Oklahoma.
Yes.
So, and that had been a huge issue. So maybe that's some sign that he's, at least learning to take care of the ball a little bit better. Maybe hopefully that indicates that he's reading defenses a little bit better. He's not going to just chuck it to the other guy, because he got suckered. So maybe that's going on there a little bit. But again, I do agree. I think that if he's playing an awful lot down the stretch, and we don't know exactly how that's going to work out, but just simply the repetitions and being in there consistently on a regular basis, knowing what he's going to be doing and that it's his job, maybe that will help the situation for him in that regard. So, I hope that's the case.
What I do know is Jet appears to be a gamer and a competitor. So we'll see how that plays out. Red Raider K wants to know our thoughts on the Tech Baylor series returning to a home and home after this game this season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of the traditional stuff. I mean, and as you would be shocked to hear, I'm sure, but shocked, to just rock to the roots, no doubt about it. But I mean, look, Baylor's got a long history of playing games here. I miss seeing those guys that I hate
miss
so
seeing- I
much.
was about to say,
Yeah,
wow,
yeah. You know, it's going to be
Kind of
good.
like how you miss seeing the Aggies that we hate so much.
Right, right. Well, I mean, you know, as I miss the Aggies too, just because it was so, you know, you need some hatred, you know, I mean, to get on with life. So, and that's especially true in sports. So,
Yes.
and you know, there's a lot to hate about Baylor right now. So, bring them on in. Yeah. So I'm happy to see that return to the old ways. And maybe it doesn't make financial sense. Maybe it does. But I care about more than just money. I'm not an AD, so I can do that.
You make good points. I love sports hate too. It's one of my favorite things about sports. As long as it doesn't go too far. You can go too far with anything. You know, obviously hate. You know, look, maybe I'm just too sunshiny for some people, but I liked when they played at Jerry World, and I like that they're going back to the home and home. You know, I like the switch up. I mean, if they continue to play at Jerry World, y'all know I'm from Arlington. I love the Cowboys. I like them playing there. That's great. But I also am glad to see it, like you said, return to the home and home. You know, Tech hasn't played in Baylor's new stadium. You know, this will give you all opportunity to go there and make fun of the toilet bowl looking stadium, you know, and all that. So, I mean, no, but in all seriousness, I'm cool with it. You know, and if they go back to Jerry World, or if they have another series with somebody else, I'll be excited about that too. I guess I just like Texas Tech football and Big 12 football. Right. All right, and finally, we have a question from Cojones. He wants to know what the best meal-drink combo for this particular upcoming game would be. It's got to be some kind of beef, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know, I guess I'm kind of straightforward sort of a mood right now. So let's just go with a well-grilled New York strip.
Yeah.
A little bit of herb butter and blue cheese on the top. Okay, you're gonna do the drink. And then like a side with that, it would just be some sauteed mushrooms with a lot of garlic and burgundy wine and the saute mix there. And then Jared can come up with the drink there.
I actually, and some people normally look at me funny when I do this, but I like a good bourbon with my steak and tater. Yeah. You know, most people like wine. I like wine with it too, or honestly, it's whatever. Give me water with steak. But there's something about a good bourbon, and everybody, whatever bourbon you like, whatever trips your trigger, we have. That's a debate, a whole nother video debate. I like Eagle Rare, so that's what I like. That's my choice.
What if you wanted to go Scotch? Would that be an option there?
Absolutely, Scotch is an option. For me personally, I like bourbon. The little sweet go with the savory. This is really good. But that's just me. I think it hits the spot. It's my favorite meal, you know. And it's normally not at a restaurant, though. I've had some good steaks at some nice restaurants before. I'm not one of those that's just like, oh, you can't get a good steak, you know, at a nice restaurant. I think you can, but it's best off someone's grill in their backyard. You know, somebody knows what they're doing with the seasoning. And man, that bourbon, tater, hits the spot. So that's the perfect meal. Matter of fact, I may do that instead of go to the game this week. Maybe watch it from the house, you know?
Can't blame you.
Actually, I hear you cook a mean steak, so you haven't had me over to do that. Let's do that.
Tolerable, man. It's tolerable.
Let's
but
do
I've
it.
never had whiskey with the steak, believe it or not. I'm going to have to try that.
Do it.
Yes,
Do it.
I will.
All right. I just did the other day.
Doctor's orders.
It was terrific. Yeah. So, Joe, great stuff from you as always. Great questions from y'all, and until next time.